What's up, my podcast listeners? This is your host, Rafal Matuszewski. I am psyched. I am pumped for this episode because it's sunny out here in Vancouver, British Columbia. We don't get that much sun. It rains all the fucking time. So when the sun comes out, generally everyone feels really happy and not in a crummy mood. But I'm excited to chat with you guys today because I've been listening to a lot of nutrition podcasts that kind of spew out the same kind of concept that I've been talking about forever when it comes to nutrition. And it kind of looks at the bigger picture of nutrition. And this also comes at a time where, you know, I've been getting a lot of questions from my clients and my listeners and viewers on YouTube, which, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, definitely do that. Is like, what diet should I follow? How should I be eating? And all that same bullshit questions that have been going around the internet, and clients with trainers and people looking to lose weight the last, fucking 30 years. And literally, like, the biggest thing, like, if you look at every diet that's out there that's popular, you think about keto, think about paleo, think about intermittent fasting, whatever it is, they all work. That's what it is. They all work at the end of the day. And they all limit something in order for you to get into a calorie deficit. The giant issue that all of these diets have is you take a structured thing, say like keto, and give it to another individual that's not tailored to them in any way. It doesn't look at the history of your eating patterns. If you've ever dealt with any kind of binge-like behaviors, any kind of eating disorders, it doesn't look at your experience with food, your knowledge around the kitchen, your background and culture in food. Living in Canada where we have so many different cultures here. Say my immigrant, and I'm still an immigrant too, but my immigrant parents coming from Poland, that say they were just fresh out of Poland, they were used to eating whatever they ate back home, and they come here to Canada / North America and they get into fitness and health, and all they hear about is keto, and that's not really how they grew up eating. Like, it's going to be very difficult to make that switch, like, you force someone into an environment that they're not used to, they're not going to succeed in it. So that's the biggest issue when it comes to all these major diets, or any diet that you find in a book. Like, it's not tailored to you. That doesn't mean that you should never do keto. Like, you can probably do a version of keto that fits your lifestyle. Intermittent fasting, for example, is so rigid when it comes to the timing of food that you don't have a lot of leeway if your day goes upside down, And people forget that they are not bodybuilders that follow a strict diet protocol. Like, they need room, like wiggle room. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you choose. It just needs to fit in your lifestyle. And I think people just get so caught up with there's going to be another diet out there for me that works better. And that's the thing. People are looking for something that's going to fit their life. You know what I mean? And that's why people jump one diet to another, because they're searching for that thing that's going to help them. And even when I get online training clients, primarily for just nutrition, they are physically asking me okay, I want you to help me with my diet while doing intermittent fasting. And I'm like, why do you want to do intermittent fasting? And it's always like, well, my friend did it and they saw a lot of success. And I'm like, are you your friend? Do you have the same lifestyle? Do you have the same access to food? Do you have the same access of time? Like, all these factors play a huge role. But at the end of the day, when you look at the research of nutrition out there, and you also have to keep in mind that nutrition research is not very extensive in the sense that if you compare it to any other field, like look at the field of chemistry, like that science has been around, that industry has been around for like 3,000 years. Like, it's been a long time. Whereas nutrition and fitness, it's a young industry. It's very, very young. It's in its infancy. So that's why there's so much talk and argument back and forth of which way you should eat. Like, should you go vegan? Should you go vegetarian? Should you just eat meat? Like, there's so much discussion about it. And no wonder people are constantly feeling confused and don't know what to do. And then they just feel hopeless, or they do find something that works in their favor and they start liking it, and then their friends start spewing off how being a vegan is the dumbest thing you can do, while you're like, no, like, I'm helping the planet, I'm cutting down my carbon footprint, my body feels better, I'm not bloated. And then you're just like questioning yourself, like, did I do the right thing? Did I do the right choice? Like, it's so fucking frustrating, and I can only imagine what people are going through. But at the end of the day, if you talk to so many nutrition experts out there, most of them, no matter what their view on nutrition is, they will agree that if an individual eats a lot of vegetables, some legumes, grains, adequate protein, minimal processed foods, you're on the right path for longevity and health. But how people package what I just said is far different from them all kind of agreeing on the same thing. Because I can literally take a vegan advocate and someone who does intermittent fasting that's all about protein intake and ask them, like, is eating large amounts of vegetables, fruits, a good idea? They'll say yes. If you ask them both, like, is it a good idea to have sufficient to high protein intake? Both of them will say yes. And you start seeing this, like, trend that a lot of people actually agree is just how they package their message. And it almost seems like it's the end-all be-all. Like, you can eat like a vegan and still have high protein with meat. Like, you literally look at all these different ways of eating, and they all kind of come down to the same thing. And the end of the day, people just start arguing because they have this, like, egotistic thing that they need to be right, and the way that they do it is better than, like, what you're doing, which is so strange. Because at the end of the day, like, the fitness industry is supposed to help people, make them feel better, lose weight, become healthier. So really, if I had a nutrition client and say I was like, fuck keto, it's the worst thing you can do, you eat like an asshole, you eat bacon all day and whatever else thing that you can think of that keto people do, and someone came to me and they were like, I really want to learn how to do the keto diet, I want to train with you specifically because X, Y, and Z, I would be a dumbass and an asshole to be like, no, we're not doing keto, like, F this. And because I just don't think that's going to line up with, like, what I believe in, but I physically have an individual that might have been struggling the last 10 years to finally put their health in order, and they came to you, they had enough courage and determination and motivation to come to me and be like, hey, I want to change my life, but I want to do it this way, and you're going to say no? Like, fuck that. Like, come on. Man, I'm ranting. This is great. So at the end of the day, everyone wants the same thing, and it's just, you're an individual, and you need to find what works for your lifestyle. So stop thinking of like absolutes that if I go on a diet, I hate that word, but you're going to pick a new diet. You're not going to just be keto. You're not going to be just vegan. You're not going to be just intermittent fasting. It's eating like an adult. Like, it's really hard to sell like a nutrition book or a nutrition program where you're like, oh, my way of eating is better because you're going to eat more protein and you're going to eat more vegetables and you're going to try to eat less processed foods. Like, compared to, oh, based on research, if you have fasting windows of, 8 to 16 hours, you're going to help fight insulin resistance and blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's easier to sell those kind of things. And, having a little bit of pessimism in your sales pitch, like saying why your way of eating or diet is more superior compared to something else, and you throw some facts that eating a diet high in fat can actually do this to your body, like, that sells. Giving simple instructions to the masses and telling them that's the key to success is not going to sell at all. There's a reason why people watch the news that only reports like tragedy, like devastation, or some sort of like right now, oh, our COVID numbers are going up, or there's been an outbreak and things like that. No one ever talks about like, hey, the place who had an outbreak, within 2 weeks, they were able to go back to fully functioning as a business and all the employees are happy. Like, no one's gonna care about that. Like, you almost have to sell something terrible in your product, in your way of eating, whatever it is, or like badmouth or bash another diet and say that being a vegan is better than that way of doing things, right? So I'm kind of going all over the place, but it's just like, it's annoying to me because this whole battle of, my way of eating is better than your way of eating has been going on forever. And the general population is so fucking confused more than ever, and they just don't know what to do. And honestly, at the end of the day, you just want to eat better and lose weight. So where I'm getting at with this is, you need to find what suits your lifestyle. Don't make your lifestyle try to fit into a square peg when you're a round hole, right? I use that analogy all the time. So enough, trying to force feed yourself, pun intended, with a keto diet when your body doesn't tolerate high amounts of fat that well, or you overeat fat because you're not satisfied with the amount that you're getting, right? If being a vegan makes your body feel better, you're not bloated, and you're happier, like, fucking go vegan. Like, don't try to pigeonhole yourself in one aspect of eating. There's so many ways of doing it. You got to find what works for you and your body, and don't overcomplicate things. That's it. That is it. I'm going to end it there, you guys. That was a lot. But thank you for listening to me ramble. You guys are amazing. Hit the show notes, add me on Facebook and Instagram. If you have any requests on topics, let me know. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me a 5-star rating on any kind of podcast player thing that you're listening to me on. And I will forever be grateful and continue giving you the best fitness and health advice out there. That's it for me. Till next time, you guys.